What's going on, everyone? This is Tyler Dunn here with Jim Monis. And we're live at Hammer Brewing. Jim, got a little Tim McGraw playing in the background. Got some patrons here. Beautiful fireplace behind us. Some Louis in our cups.
Hoptimonium, a little bit lager now. We're celebrating the end.
I might have had too many Hoptimoniums because that's what I
No,
have. I
no,
said Louis. I have
no
a
such,
Hoptimonium.
no such thing. That's what Hoptimonium does. It makes you forget you're drinking it. But we're celebrating the end of preseason football. I couldn't be happier. I feel very proud of myself that I didn't get caught up in it. I didn't watch much, just some Twitter highlights and trying to get just the main storylines. But like we know, there's a lot of things going on. But what we always know is Hamburg is the spot where we are most comfortable, where we really feel like we get the best knowledge, and we always credit the beer has something to do with it.
A little ambiance.
It helps. It helps us get some of the stuff we need to get off our chest out there.
And also, everybody out there will get the details Wednesday a.m. in your email inbox if you subscribe to Go Long. But there may or may not be a big old shindig here at Hamburg Brewing to kick off the season here at Go Long. So just keep your eyes out for that update. We'll leave it there. But yeah, you're right, Jim. Preseason football. So I love that extra week now. I felt like, and I loved your take as somebody who's actually in the league. I always felt covering the game that it happened too fast. Like that fourth preseason game, it's over, cuts, and then you're preparing for a week. Everything was so rapid fire. I kind of like this extra week in the middle now.
I like it too. I think it makes sense. It gives everybody a chance to catch your breath, your travel. Everything is rushed after that last game. You're right. And to see them at least put that into play is a good thing, because I still think the preseason's ridiculous. Like these teams that practice against each other all week and then they play against each other. That's like, is it really necessary? Can you not just practice and then, hey, we're not going to play this week?
It's like Senior Bowl week, right? When you're there as a scout, you care about the practices way more than you care about the game. Everybody leaves before. Most people leave before the game even happens.
We watch the tape of the game. You'll get assignments, but it's really not that. You're not sitting there. Well, maybe not. The Giants, apparently, that's how they drafted Daniel Jones. Gettleman watched the first drive at the Senior Bowl and said he was a pro quarterback. I mean, I'm just saying that's sometimes you can get caught up in it too, because you still have rules and regulations on how you play defense. Just like, nobody's showing anything in the NFL right now in the preseason.
No,
it is like,
which is why all these rookie quarterbacks look so good.
It's
probably,
yes.
Right?
It's why you got to really pay attention. It's why you just keep it calm, like we said. Just take it for find your little guys you like. Then it goes to the Ravens, to Dobbins. That is why I can't stand. That's why you close your eyes. You just don't want to watch the preseason. It's just But anyway, that's I'm glad it's over. I'm really excited now to really start talking about the real games. This is going to be fun.
It's that age-old debate too. Like, I do get the argument that you want to get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
You want to get something rolling. Andy Reid and Sean McDermott, the two teams in the NFC Championship. Mahomes played a lot. Allen played a lot.
Yep. And you saw it with the Ravens. They take it serious. Like Harbaugh comes from that tree too.
20 in a row, right?
Whatever. I mean, it's right.
Hoist the banner.
So I get that there are guys that have their, hey, let's get out there. And some of those quarterbacks want that, they want that half or a good couple series, whatever it is. That's what they want. The front office can barely watch. Like, please, let's just get to the regular season. Let's start this thing. So I get it though. I do.
I get it too. I mean, I just think back to 2011, covering the Packers. It was my first year at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I mean, they just steamrolled teams that year. 15-1. They scored 30, 40 points a game. Remember the SI cover with all those receivers?
It's just ridiculous.
Defense really wasn't that good, but they forced turnovers.
Yep.
They beat the Lions with Matt Flynn in a crazy game in the finale. Flynn makes a lot of money off of that. But they had the bye week, number 1 seed locked up. And, Mike McCarthy obviously chose to rest Aaron Rodgers and kind of coast that last week of the season. And then there was the bye week. And then, and I'm going to say this because I think it was a factor as well, Joe Philbin's son dies tragically. It was brutal. I mean, he's on Hard Knocks. That's all I can think of watching Joe Philbin out there. Just the worst trauma anybody could possibly go through, losing his son the way he did. But there's a funeral for him the Friday before they played the Giants in the divisional playoff game. So maybe that was a huge factor too, but all that time off of just not really playing, and they're in this bad
God.
kind of place. And I guess I get the argument if you're one of these coaches that wants to play. I mean, you're risking injury in a meaningless football game, but there's something to be said for wanting to find some type of rhythm, I guess.
I get it. It's
Yeah.
just one of those. It's a hard. There's just no facts necessarily to back up
Right. It's a
anything
feel.
other than can we please be healthy for the regular season. So how do you justify, like, if something happened to Josh Allen or if something happened to Garoppolo when he
Yeah, you wouldn't
went
be able
head
to sleep
first to
at
get that touchdown? Not that like their whole season's depending on Garoppolo, but he's a big reason why they can ease the rookie into it because they have a vet and that team is loaded, like we've talked about. So I get it, the risk reward on that. I just don't get.
I love reading about like football back in the 60s and 70s. I mean, they played 6 preseason games, right?
And probably
And they
every
probably beat the
game
shit
was
out of each other.
yes, every game was probably so meaningful. I wonder if they had the point spreads on those games, like if it mattered back then. Like, because now I can't. They make the spreads for these games, and I look at them just like, how are you guys doing this? Like, I'm always blown away by Vegas how they can do it. But the old rule of thumb is just take who you think is going to win and hope they cover in the preseason. Because can you imagine, like the 49ers? I mean, I think they were giving like 5.5 this weekend or something like that. I'm just like, it doesn't even interest me, and I want to bet on everything. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I didn't do it.
That's how I've been with some listeners may know with sports cards on eBay. Like, you kind of find yourself let's just see what those Trey Lance PSA 10s are looking like right now. Let's just check in on those Jordan Love Prism Silvers.
Those cards are coming, making that
but you
comeback.
Get a sense for like the hype around
like
a player.
who's hype, yeah.
Like, people are hyped about Trey Lance beyond belief. His cards are insane.
What are they? I don't watch Hard Knocks, and you said you saw a little of it, or not really?
Unfortunately, I mean, it's a watered down, sanitized shell of what it used to be.
What is the rookie, the linebacker Parsons from Penn State? He's from Harrisburg, where we're from. And I have I have people that know his father and friends back there that say he's he's kind of a great, like, kind of a leader and a personality. Has he shown up pretty good in that show or not really?
They highlighted him
a little bit,
I think, in episode 1 pretty well. Yeah, you can tell he's got some spunk to him, which is what they need. I mean, their defense was terrible.
That's why I'm interested to see if that brings a little life to their defense.
Yeah.
I want to watch. I haven't really studied him enough. I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Linebackers, I mean, him, Leighton Vander Esch, if
those
his
guys,
health is there, and Jalen Smith.
I mean, if those guys they go all out to get the ball, so that's what you want.
Well, for this episode of the podcast, we figured we'd I know we were texting earlier. I'm like, well, do we want to like rank quarterbacks, or do we want to hit on our top 3 storylines for the season? Then not big rankers on this podcast, are we?
We'll do some rankings in the middle of the season, maybe.
The
I don't
rankings
know.
I will read are your quarterback rankings that you did last season.
They were strong. They were good. I liked them.
Jim's too modest here, but like,
they were good.
Out of the game last year, you just watched every snap.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it again this year.
Mike McCarthy said he watched every snap of football. He told Jerry Jones that he watched every snap, and then he admitted he lied
a little bit
to get the job. Jim
Monis
actually did watch.
I did.
All these quarterbacks. So
every throw
you could be coach of the Cowboys right now.
I was ranked. I had the backups. I mean, every guy that played, I just kept ranking them, grading them. Feel pretty good. I mean, I had Teddy Bridgewater ranked ahead of Drew Lock from last year. I mean, he won the job. I mean, so I'm just, but
seriously though, you have a perspective.
It gives you an idea, on sometimes who's really making plays and who is part of a great system.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. All these guys obviously are talented, and we're going to see. Like this year, I can't wait to dive into Winston with the Saints, and I can't wait to see how these rookies do. Wilson, because he does look pretty natural, like we knew in college, and right now he's kind of, how's he going to look when they're playing real defense? So I am excited to watch the quarterbacks, but let's wait. We got our top 3 out of the preseason. What are we excited to see? Like storylines
that get us jacked about the football season. You know what I mean?
So,
and real quick, let me pause.
Go ahead.
What Jim just talked about there with the quarterbacks. People want to subscribe to go along. They may or may not get some of that insight this year. Just saying. I had to look at it last year, and it is the most in-depth look at. I mean, I just think anecdotally is how most of us view the game. Like, oh, I caught this game and this player looked really good, but you're not comparing that
No,
quarterback
it's every
to
game
31 other quarterbacks. So you don't really know how good he is.
till you're watching
That's
all
why
of
I
them.
love what you do with that.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you maybe let me sneak on some go long stuff this year. It could be fun. I want to be a part of the team some more.
We're throwing a lot of teasers out there.
We got a lot of good things going on.
But, all right, 3 things that get you jacked for the
Okay.
season. We'll go back and forth with our 3, but you get the party started.
I'm not going in any order, but more or less who we're going to really pay attention to a little bit. I'm really going to pay attention to the Baltimore Ravens, and it will be in the playoffs, not the regular season. That team is loaded, and we already know that they're ready to make the run to the Super Bowl. And I've said this a little bit on our podcast, but it's time to see Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson take this team to the next level. Now, obviously losing Dobbins doesn't help, but that team has proven that they have running backs that can, fill in, and Lamar obviously is so special. But now it's time where, obviously what he's done and what he's done at that age, even he's so young and he's been so dominant. But can he get them to the Super Bowl? That's their goal. It's not winning 13 games in the regular season and winning one playoff game. It's Super Bowl. That team is built for the Super Bowl. And I'm not saying they have to get there this year. Everything's fine. I'm just saying I would want Lamar can't be the reason they don't go to the Super Bowl, if that makes sense. Where it can't be him going 23 for 40, which he's done before. I think he's only thrown 40 times one time. Like they know. Like the more he throws, it's going to be hold your breath probably. But it doesn't mean he can't be the reason they don't get to the Super Bowl. He can't be the reason where they are forcing Lamar to make throws and he's not making them. And that's the biggest thing I'm going to watch with the Ravens in the playoffs is Lamar getting them to the Super Bowl.
Are you surprised that a contract extension was not reached?
No, I'm not, because they're going to do it, right? They're going to do it. It's going to happen. Just like it's going to happen. But no, I have to believe they're having those. I'm not saying they're having those talks, but what is going to happen if he does have a bad game in the playoffs, throwing the ball again? And what are they going to do? I mean, is he the guy? This league is set up to throw. So that's going to be something I'm going to pay attention to.
So fascinating. I mean,
and they have Greg Roman,
who you're familiar with,
who is the best. If he could, he'd probably bench Lamar now for Matt Castle. But I still want to see. Roman's, this is going to be, he wants that head. I know he wants a head job. Yeah. He wants to be back on that list. I mean, does this get him back in the mix?
Any idea what he's squatting these days?
800. 800? Just ask him.
Just 800, huh?
800 pounds. Just ask him.
So Rex would mess around.
Rex liked that one. Yeah. Rex used to say, hey, G-Ro. He would do it in a meet. We'd be interviewing a player. We could be interviewing a guy at the combine. Hey, G-Ro, tell him what you squatted. He'll ask the player, what's the most you can squat? And the player might be like 450.
And Greg Roman would take it seriously?
He took it seriously. I think he really
legitimately thought Rex was curious on his numbers.
Mm-hmm. I just picture him with his knees wrapped a little bit and getting on that squat rack. That's a big day for him probably. But
I'm not going to lie. I feel a little bad for Greg Roman in that scenario. If you're kind of you don't really know what's going on and your boss is just kind of mocking you in the open. That's not the best place to be.
Say, right? If you walk into a room of you can't spot the sucker in the room right away, you're probably the sucker. So
what's wild, and we've talked about Greg Roman a lot on this podcast.
Greg Roman's a very knowledgeable and good football coach. Don't get me wrong. He can be a little hard to deal with, but he is very creative. He's very passionate, very intelligent. Everybody butts heads when it comes to certain players. That's just part of the business. But, I mean, what they do on offense right now in Baltimore is, they're hard to stop. Yeah. So you can't sit there and argue that he's not a good coach.
It's almost kind of by accident, I guess, that he became this, running quarterback genius of a coach. I
it wasn't his. Yeah, go ahead.
Just in Buffalo, like talking to the linemen, they were adamant, like his schemes in the run game were next level. And I've heard that from players, and I've heard it from other coaches that have been around him, that young coaches who need to be around Greg Roman to learn what he sees. And he didn't aspire to be that kind of a coach, I don't think, right? Like he ended up with Colin Kaepernick and maybe kind of made the best of it. And it lasted to a point, and teams kind of figured Colin Kaepernick out. and he was backing up Blaine Gabbert. And then Tyrod Taylor, he didn't want as his starting quarterback.
Didn't want him.
There was a lot of good, a lot of success. I don't know. What's your read on that? And could he have done more with Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo, I guess?
That would be. I don't know if he could have. I really don't know.
Which is the sign of a pretty good coach, right?
I think he is a good coach. He's just, he's just a little, just a little different. But that's what I'm saying with the Ravens, with, Dobbins being hurt. That scheme, whoever's going to run the ball is going to be good. They're going to be good running the ball. That's just what he does. So
Gus Edwards is a good player.
Good player, tough runner, and that's what you want. So, yes, Greg Roman's a good football coach. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, he wouldn't, and he has one of the best offenses going. So can he get Lamar? That's why I can't wait to watch
that style of play win 3 to 4 playoff games.
I can tell you, if he was being honest with me when we used to talk, I don't know if he believes it, but he's going to try. And he'll do the best he can to get the, he will. He'll use these guys to their best talents. He will.
Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall?
Yeah, I would like
in that Ravens draft.
They didn't take Lamar. They took a tight end. Like, we don't talk about that enough.
They took Hayden Hurst,
which tells me everything. If you had Lamar Jackson, if you really liked him and he was there, then you're taking him. That's your franchise quarterback. You're just replaced. Man, you just got the youngest guy. You don't have to worry about the position for the next 10 years. And you took Hayden Hurst, which tells me. So here it is. Now here it is. Here's the question. Who in that room who didn't have Lamar ranked ahead of Hayden Hurst? My feeling is this: the personnel probably had Lamar like way ahead of Hayden Hurst, but the coaches may not have. So let's get Hurst, and then, wow, he's still there. Now we got to get him. That's my guess. I can find out a little more on that, but there's just no way. If you had the passion if you really thought he was going to be what he's doing, you would have taken him before Hayden Hurst.
Oh my God.
And it just never gets talked about.
I love those stories, man. I think our listeners do too. So we'll have a story, probably a 2-parter on the Dallas Cowboys next week.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see this one.
And just, I guess, a little teaser, talking to people in the know that have been around the team for the last 20 to 25 years. Obviously, right now, Dak Prescott's the face of the team. He is the Dallas Cowboys.
No doubt.
The way Jerry Jones talks about him, he talks about him like he's a son. They wanted Paxton Lynch in 2016, really, really bad. And Jerry Jones, that weekend of the draft, Jerry Jones, to the media, I mean, it's all out there, said that he regrets that he didn't give up more for Paxton Lynch to trade up and take it. Like an emotional kind of response to it. He was mad at himself. He said he was mad at himself. He didn't do it, and it didn't end there. Connor Cook, they tried to trade up for Connor Cook in the 4th round. Didn't get him, and they almost take Dak Prescott right ahead of you guys.
They did.
Right ahead when you would have taken him in the 4th round. And by accident, sort of, kind of, there's people in the building that had him as an undrafted free agent. Heard that from the offensive coordinator. So this league is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, one little,
Paxton Lynch, this is where scouts are so valuable, where if you just put the film on or just watch a pro day, yes, draft Paxton Lynch tomorrow. But when you interview him and when the scouts spend time with him, he wasn't a football junkie. He didn't know the game that well. As far as can he just go anywhere and learn a system, it wasn't all natural for him, and it was a red flag when we interviewed him. He didn't blow anybody away with his, but the physical blew everybody away.
Did you interview him at the combine?
We did. Actually, that was G-Row, D. Lee. Yeah, that was part of that crew, and they weren't blown away by him. That's when they wanted the Penn State Hackenberg, right? But anyway, got away. Right, Castle and Hackenberg. Anyway, good thing we did. Yeah, but we took Cardell Jones, and that was a bad pick too. I mean, we didn't hit on that. We were hoping there was something there, and he was maxed out. He wasn't
How bad did you want Dak Prescott?
We
with
were
that,
well.
honestly?
I'll be
Like,
honest. Yeah, the coaches definitely would have loved that. We would have loved it. Um, it took a little convincing with Terry because he did see the one little tape we showed him was Mississippi State against Alabama, and obviously that's who you want to watch him against. And for us, we saw the good that Dak was doing in that game,
mm-hmm.
but it wasn't his best game. So you did see some of the, some just college football flaw, some missed throws or some intercept. Like it happens, but it definitely. I know Terry wasn't blown away by the tape, and I remember we were kind of looking at each other like shit, like because we brought him in for when you could bring the 30 players in. And he blew us away. He blew the coaches away. Like he blew everybody away. He came in suited up. These guys don't. We don't tell him. He wear whatever, and you don't have to wear a suit. We don't care.
Yeah.
That cared. Like
Yeah.
it fit his whole. He wanted everybody to know. Yeah, if you take me, this you got your leader, and it was awesome. He was awesome to talk to. He was. Oh, I remember. It was him. Wait, the defensive tackle from Illinois, Ward, who's bounced around, and then two Alabama guys, Reggie Ragland, who we drafted, and the returner that the Patriots drafted from Alabama, Cyrus Jones, I believe. Anyway, Reggie and Cyrus played together, obviously, at Bama. So they were saying they could beat Dak and Ward 2-on-2 basketball. And it got intense. I mean, it was
Really?
like you guys have like it was like nobody was giving in. But the competitiveness came out in all of them. It was cool to see. But that's the stuff when you bring those visits on that, I always like to see who guys, it's funny how guys get heated over certain things. But Dak was awesome. He was awesome.
And in the media, like you're always going to hear um, teammates, friends,
Mm-hmm.
past coaches talk about intangibles, and it almost to the point of like, if I'm writing a story on somebody and the high school coach is saying how great of a leader this player is, you roll your eyes and you probably don't put it in the story.
Yeah.
But when I did a story on Dak Prescott at Bleach Report, it was like, I think this was into his second year, so after they went 13-3 his rookie year. It's just above and beyond. Like everybody you reach, like high school teammates, college teammates, coaches, anybody who's ever been around Dak Prescott, the way they talk about him, it's like there's a mystique there. There's something special there, and it's remarkable that he fell to where he did to a team that had a lot of people in the building that didn't even want to draft him, didn't think he was draftable. Like how does that happen? I mean, he did lead Mississippi State to a number one ranking at one point. We saw it in the SEC.
We talk about it all the time with the league. Just doesn't like the league sees guys for some reason similar. Like, yes, he should have been. Well, looking back now, he's a top 10 pick. I mean, he's a top 10 pick.
I mean, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz went 1-2, and clearly you'd have Dak Prescott over both of them.
Over both of them.
All right. Anything else on the Ravens here?
No, that was my Ravens. We went Dallas a little.
All right, I'll fire one at you.
Go, I like it.
Let's talk a little Miami Dolphins.
This is good. They're
in
popping up in the news a little bit.
I mean, so the Miami Dolphins are in a little bit of a pickle, Jim. They
why? Because they have their franchise quarterback, right?
I mean, that's what we were led to believe.
That's what we were told.
Tua Tagovailoa is the guy. But you really have to watch actions more than hear words, don't you? I mean, we talk about that a lot on this.
That's life.
Podcast.
That's life.
It's life. It's not just football. That's life.
That's life.
The actions of Brian Flores.
Oh, this is great.
I mean, they bench him twice as a rookie. They just ludicrously start him in the finale against Buffalo. Right after they pulled him against the Raiders, right? They pull him. Fitz pulls off this amazing win. Who, by the way, probably has never said a bad word about anybody. Came out this offseason and said like
he was upset.
He was upset about it. Like he didn't understand it. Yeah. Like for him to speak out on that says a lot.
Says something.
So they don't really handle Tua well at all. Like their actions speak loudly. Like that this dude just is limited. I mean, there's a lot of dink, a lot of dunk. He doesn't really have that one trait that like pops, right? Like big arm,
I like the way you say that.
Athleticism, velocity on the throw. He's small. He just at Alabama, he got all those 5 stars around you. I mean, maybe they just made him look really, really good. But obviously, they took him for a reason. They surround him with all the weapons. We've seen that work. Buffalo did it. They surround Josh Allen with weapons, and he's second in the MVP
Boom.
voting. So you get into training camp, and I mean, he is another year removed from the hip injury.
Yeah.
You got to give him that.
That's all. Yep.
I
That's
mean,
the only thing I
maybe-
wanted to say. Yep. I
Maybe
do want to
he
see
was
him.
a different quarterback because of that hip injury.
No doubt.
And I've talked to his trainer, Nick Hicks,
That's right.
and he just says this dude's going to tear the league up, like a lot of trainers would say.
Yeah.
He really believed it.
Yeah.
That he's got a lot more strength in his hip. And, you know, with quarterbacks, I think that's huge, right? Like,
Yes.
you throw with your hips
Yes.
and your lower
If
body.
you're doing it correctly.
So I get that. But if they've gotten to this point now, what's today? What do we got here? It's August 30th.
Is it really?
So they saw him all training camp. Or no, backtracking. They saw him all OTAs, all minicamp, all training camp. And Brian Flores is asked about these rumors circulating with Deshaun Watson, who, by the way, is being accused of some pretty gross things, beyond gross. I mean, at best,
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be criminally charged. I'm sorry, at worst, he'll be criminally charged. And, I mean, go away. At best, he's a creep, right? Like, these are
It's hard to
awful,
believe.
awful
Yeah,
allegations,
hard
and
to believe. That's sad.
it's
yeah.
probably something we should get into because it's a quarterback that I've talked to. I've talked to a lot of people who know him, and it's shocking to say the least. But we'll let it play out. But you got all that going on with Deshaun Watson, all these rumors
Mhm.
that you want to trade for Deshaun Watson.
Mhm.
What does Brian Flores do? He doesn't say Tua Tagovailoa is our starting quarterback. He doesn't say that's all false. He just says that those conversations will stay internal, and he's not going to go there. He has an opportunity. I mean, if you really believe Tua is your quarterback, you shoot that down on sight. You don't think so?
Yes. I'm thinking about this. What is the best way to answer that question? So I don't know. There isn't anybody that would argue with Flores that you would want Watson
Well,
over right?
They're clearly trying to trade for him right now. They just
So-
don't want to give up.
So do
what
you
Houston
look?
wants.
So what's the best way to handle that in the media? That's a hard one, I guess. What do you
I
tell
see
the
what you
head
mean.
coach? I guess like, hey, here's the deal. They're going to ask you about Watson. How do we answer this the best way?
No, I think he handled it
Yeah.
the right way.
Like you don't say, because you don't want to say, no, Tua's our guy, because
Yeah.
then if you bring in Watson, then you lose all credibility with your players, right? At least this way, when you just say it's internal, which is true,
it's just got to be
which
incredible disappointment behind the scenes. in what
basically,
they see Tua.
hopefully he would go to Tua and say, just be upfront. Hey, we are, it's not going to change the plan right now. Obviously, we could sign him tomorrow. He's not going to start right away. I mean, he doesn't know anything about he's never been here. This is your team.
Unless
For
they
now.
can dump him in the trade, right?
For now.
Yeah.
Now that would be. I don't know. That's where it gets tricky. But of course they're looking at him.
My point is like,
There's only
talk about just I mean, it's got to be unbelievably disappointing behind the scenes. Like they really believe that Tua could take this step, and for it to get to that point where you're entertaining a trade for somebody going through what he's going through legally, when you could have had Justin
Mhm.
Herbert with that pick, and you signed guys, you drafted guys, you believed in them.
It's funny how that doesn't get brought up a lot. That they could have had Herbert.
They absolutely could have. It's I don't know. I mean, you're right. They're not going to stand up and say, yeah, our quarterback's a bust and we're trying to trade for
Right.
Deshaun Watson. But that's pretty much what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to a point. I mean, nobody's going to argue with if somebody says Watson's better than Tua. I mean, he is. So you're not going to.
But why didn't you do the trade back in February or March?
Could they have learned more recently?
Houston.
Or
Why didn't Houston?
Houston now. Houston has to dump him.
They're trying. It's.
Or else they just keep him and they just pay him and $10 million or whatever this year, and he doesn't have to do anything.
Why didn't Houston do it back then? When
That's a good
Watson
question.
made it clear to
Well, do we know?
everybody he wanted
do we
out.
know that they could have? That's the only thing. Do we know for sure they had the offers? Like they were.
I see what you mean.
Like, do we know for sure that these teams were really?
That's why everybody's at fault here. Houston's at fault for not doing it then, and Miami, like
everybody waited to see maybe
they
what
waited,
if he's going
they
to be.
believed in Tua.
And will the legal process play out? Are people learning now that This could just be he's going to get off, and I don't know. I don't know enough about it. The legal stuff.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be resolved anytime soon. I mean, there's so many separate cases. Are they going to be settled like individually?
How does Miami do it then? How do you have the confidence to give up your whole basically your future?
Because there's a good chance he wouldn't even play football this year, and then there could be a suspension on top of that.
That's what I'm saying. Something for that trade to go down. Somebody found out something. I would think.
I guess.
And the NFL's not really getting involved. I don't think yet.
I thought he'd be on the exempt list by now.
Interesting. But yeah, you're right. That's going to be. I mean, we have to.
It's really interesting to me because here's a team with a pretty good structure in place. Mm-hmm. Brian Flores and Chris Greer.
Good. Yep, they have it set up right.
They won 10 games last year. Mm-hmm. They've made some good signings. They've stockpiled a lot of draft capital. There's a lot to like, but the big decisions, they just don't seem to know how to handle them that well. Whether it's number one, the quarterback position, and botching it during the year with Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tua back and forth, to this mess with Deshaun Watson right now. I'll even take it back further. I mean, I got to know Minka Fitzpatrick pretty well. Like, he was a Dolphin, and he's one of the best defensive players in football right now. He was there, and Brian Flores comes in and basically tells him, you will be my Patrick Chung in this defense. Like, I want you near the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And Minka Fitzpatrick, in his words, was like, just give me a shot. Like, put me out in some one-on-one drills in practice. Let me show you what I can do in space, covering a guy or reacting or reading a quarterback. And it was, no, you are this role. You are this player. Do as told in this scheme. And it got to a point where he got a little bit of a shot to show it. And then he started, like, leaving his drills that they had him in to go to other drills to show them what he could do. And then he demanded a trade. He wanted to get out of there. I mean, that's a star player that you weren't able to really deal with appropriately. I mean, you want a Minka Fitzpatrick on your team. So for all the good going on in Miami, there's...
And then the corner this year.
Why
are you trying to... You're right. Why? Yeah. When you have those guys, just keep them. Like, that's the, it's hard finding really good players like that. So if you can keep them financially and do it, just keep them. Why upset those guys? Anyway.
Which every step of the way.
So we got Tua. Yeah. We got the Tua watch. We got the Ravens. How are they going to do in the playoffs? My next one. I'm excited to see this Rams just dominant. Nobody's going to ever stop this offense, Rams team, because they got the greatest quarterback in the history of football, apparently.
They do.
That has just been held down with bad players like Calvin Johnson and Nate Burleson. Just terrible. Reggie just putting on a show when he was up there. Like, never gave Stafford any help for however many years he's been there. Finally, Stafford has the help, and the coach. But
picture Matt Stafford playing like in a swamp.
It was just that.
It's that bad.
The best thing about Stafford is he's an easy guy to root for because he is so tough and he is so talented. But he does have flaws. He does miss open receivers in big time games, and I have it noted from last year, where he didn't grade out as a top 10 guy for me last year.
Really?
No, he misses guys, and in fourth quarters he misses guys, and he's not. He'll throw bad interceptions. But he also does things other guys can't do with his arm talent. Very few, I should say. Probably the Rodgers. Oh, I shouldn't have said Rodgers Mahomes. I was trying to avoid it, but
we almost made it.
Sorry, but he's in that same ability range with them throwing the ball. But the consistency of making the accurate and decision making. Now, obviously, I love McVay as a coach. I love what the Rams do. I think it's going to be pretty fun to watch. But they mortgaged everything for this year or next year to make the Super Bowl. So let's watch them. Let's. And I'll be putting my, hey, they put their money where their mouth is, and I'm not going to overthink it. I'll be doing the same thing. Let's see Rams Chiefs Super Bowl. Let's go for it.
Where this is really interesting to me, Jim, is when Sean McVay's offense was just freaking taking over the NFL. Mm-hmm. It started with Todd Gurley. It started with a running back and that run
straight
scheme,
ahead, run
right? Like getting to the edge and in the passing game,
mm-hmm.
and it started with Todd Gurley being this multifaceted threat for Sean McVay. I mean, that's the Patriots just took Gurley out of the game. They muddled everything up on the defensive line, so the rushing lanes were gone.
And where was the genius?
And Sean McVay was like the coach in The Water Boy without his notebook. You know?
So what's he do though? It's not my fault. I need a new quarterback. Right. Now you got the guy that everybody. So now it's perfect.
Exactly.
McVay has no more excuses. Stafford, everybody's been saying he's never had talent. So now they come together. It's got to be a Super Bowl.
It's got to be.
So that's what I'm watching.
But no Cam Akers. They lose him.
Tyler. Doesn't matter.
Darrell Henderson. Pride of Memphis.
No, but you're right. McVay does want it. I mean.
But doesn't the offense have to change a little bit? We're told repeatedly, it's drilled into our heads repeatedly that Jared Goff held the offense back. But everything started with Gurley with their scheme. Like, you got to kind of change things, I would think, offensively for to just rip it with Stafford.
Or just gives McVay maybe he was just felt handcuffed with Goff on what he could really.
That's the argument, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so now
we never saw
now
the
I
real
can
offense.
really get my off. That's what I'm saying. I'm all in on this too. Let's watch them.
You might be right.
We're gonna find out soon. We can't. No more guessing. It's gonna happen.
Speaking of The Water Boy, it's on Comedy Central a lot.
Hey.
And
it's a good once every couple years, maybe for some good
movie.
lines.
It's
good
funny.
movie.
It's funny. We were watching it the other night though, and like so many like completely innocent scenes and parts of the movie are blurred out or cut out, and
when it's on
Comedy Central at night. But it's like parts of the movie that should not be cut out. I mean, I think we're getting pretty soft as a society. I just thought it was very emblematic of they're thinking somebody on Twitter is going to be upset about this. Take it out.
So how long's that movie then? Because that movie, from what I remember of it,
it's the freaking Water Boy.
They must have cut that thing down.
And didn't the diversity episode on The Office got taken down?
It did. So I mean, that's tricky. That's tricky.
Don't mean to go down that road.
I know. That's tricky.
I think it's okay to laugh and not be offended by it.
No, I agree. I think it's okay to laugh sometimes.
Rams going to win the Super Bowl?
They have to. They mortgage everything.
All right.
The Lions would have 10 if they ever gave him some.
Can you imagine if the Lions won more games than the Rams?
Oh, stop. I like it, though.
If
I like the way you're thinking.
We're going to Detroit and doing a live podcast with Jared Goff. I'm making you go.
I'm in. I already bet the over on them. They got Goff and they got the great coach. So
who's playing receiver?
I couldn't tell you one guy.
Quintez Cephas.
He's good on the deep ball, I think, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's something to watch.
So yeah, I'm gonna watch the Rams. They're all in.
Let's see. I gotta look mine up here.
I like this. This is good. This is gonna give me some things to focus on week 1.
Tampa Bay.
Oof.
It's hard to repeat, but they bring back all their starters, and I just feel like we're not talking about them enough. I know we aren't.
Okay, I like this. Go ahead.
Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, they were clashing for a good 2 months probably. Bruce Arians wants the offense to be vertical.
Yeah.
There really aren't many check downs like we've talked about. They get to a place where they completely change the offense midseason. Nobody could stop them in the final month and a half through the playoffs. To start now with all of that in place, all of your starters back, with a team is going to be hungry. I think that's the problem with a lot of teams that can't repeat. It's like, all right, we did it. We celebrated. We threw the Lombardi Trophy all over Tampa Bay. Like, we're drunk, having fun.
That was good.
They're going to stay hungry with Tom Brady. Like, they're going to stay hungry. It's going to be hard to beat Tampa Bay this year. I just feel like it's that combination of a coach and a quarterback that found that place, that middle ground.
They did.
McVay and Goff could never find it.
Good point.
My issue, Rodgers even really have it.
To just anoint Tampa right now is where I'm struggling, because we watch those. I know we talk. It's driving me crazy. The Saints had that. The Saints, Cook fumbles that changed that game. I thought he throws 3 picks in the second half against Green Bay. We talked about this. You don't win games like that. How does that happen? So to say that they were they weren't. That last half, when you look at who they played,
pull it up here.
Yeah, the last 6 games of the season, it wasn't like they were. So I guess my point is, yes, they were clearly what they did. They dominated that Super Bowl, and yes, they were clicking. And you would think obviously they're going to be a tough team to beat. I just don't think it's so hard to win, so hard to repeat. I wouldn't. I'm not taking Tampa to make the Super Bowl. I'm not.
And they dropped 46 on Carolina.
Right, team was done.
Then that's right. They lost to the Rams, lost to the Chiefs.
When is this though?
This isn't into December. They
Rams?
beat the Vikings, they beat the Falcons, they beat
Vikings
the
was-
Lions, they beat the Falcons.
See what I'm saying?
And then Taylor Heineke kind of takes them to the brink.
It was brink.
But they still scored over 30 points against Washington, New Orleans,
And-
Green Bay, and Kansas City.
And that is a great point because New Orleans defense was insanely good. So yes, to your point, they certainly clicked. But I'm not taking them to make the Super Bowl. So yeah, I think they're a good story to watch because everybody's betting on them to go undefeated.
I don't know if they'll go undefeated, but I just think it took them so long to figure shit out between a headstrong coach, a headstrong quarterback, and that kind of thing can easily blow up anywhere. And they figured it out. They win a Super Bowl. They're the team to beat in the NFC.
Fair enough.
So
I'm betting on Father Time. It's all I ever hear in the NFL is Father Time's undefeated.
it's nuts.
Somehow, doesn't it have to? No.
Not with Tom Brady. I mean, that's really the storyline here. Like, we're entering that realm of like, there just aren't football players at this age who play a down.
They played Dallas first game.
Oh,
I love it. Tampa's 7.5 right now, favored.
yeah, we could probably triple that.
I'm shocked it's that low because I know Dallas has some. Is Dak even like what percent is he right now? Like I don't know. I hate when it looks too. I don't know. That game's scary.
I just feel like we're not talking about Tampa.
You're right.
Maybe I'm just.
I
Not
think
hearing
I
it.
think people are kind of just saying they're great. They could go undefeated, and you're almost it's given that.
People are bored of Tom Brady.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am, and I also can't get enough of it. I mean, it's incredible. It's not out of true boredom. Out of could we see somebody else? But
We had Nick Underhill on our podcast. I mean, he saw it with Drew Brees. The
decline.
decline.
That decline has been
sharp.
coming for years.
When it comes
with
to
Drew.
Peyton Manning, they won a Super Bowl, but Peyton Manning, it was
Right. I mean,
rickety. He couldn't even throw the
It
ball
was-
20
It
yards.
was hard to watch.
It happens. And Brett Favre fell apart in 2010. It
And Brady
happens with
was the
everybody.
reason Brady elevated them to
God.
that, which is hard
Right.
to believe.
It's
Right?
nuts.
He elevated them. He brought everybody's games up.
Man. And he's doing it at an age, what is he, 3 years older than these guys?
I don't
When they
understand.
fell apart?
I don't get it.
All right, you got one more.
I do.
Let's hear it.
So this is I'm not an Urban Meyer fan. Respect what he's done, obviously. Wasn't always a fan of watching him coach at practice and how he was with players. Can his style work in the NFL? I never thought it could. As far as it's different in college. I mean, it's a different dynamic where these guys are going to do whatever you need them to do. So it's like, you can't treat NFL players like you treat some of these scholarship players. I'm talking about just how he treats them in practice, talks to them. Now let's get to the XO stuff. What great quarterback does he ever just developed or had? I mean, he gets credit for Alex Smith back in the day. Okay. I mean, I'd say we all say he was a good NFL quarterback for sure. Very good NFL quarterback. Now, did he take time to develop in the NFL? I'd say yes, right? So what quarterback did Urban develop? Or was it always about his system and the amount of NFL players he had playing at Florida and Ohio State? Like, what quarterback did he develop? So now he's supposed to develop Trevor Lawrence. Well, he's never developed one. So let's see how it goes. I'm more saying this is something I really want to watch. I don't know the dynamic with him and Balky. He and Balky as the GM, they take a running back when they didn't need one. They take the Clemson running back when they had James Robinson, who was fine. Just because he was undrafted, don't overthink it. You hit.
You know,
Your scouts did a
little
great
bit on
job.
James Robinson.
Yeah, your scouts, your area scout, Marty Miller is the area scout that gets James Robinson, finds him. Wasn't even his area scout, but was in charge of the running backs and found him. Awesome story. So why did you need a running back? I just, this is the stuff I'd like to find out. Is it going to, well, obviously now Etienne got hurt, but that stinks for him. But I just, this dynamic
too, right? Ugh.
Yeah, I know. So does he develop Trevor Lawrence? Does that system fit Trevor Lawrence? And can Urban, can he do this? Can he manage the clock? Can he find ways? That's what the great head coaches do. Their clock management, their how they use timeout, how they use everything is what the great head coaches do. So I that's something I just want to pay attention to is Urban.
There's a reason all of these legendary college football coaches just flame out. I mean, one by one. It's insane.
Insane.
I mean, Nick Saban is one of the best coaches in any sport ever, and he lasted, what, like 2 seasons, if that, in Miami?
It's recruiting and drafting is so different.
So different.
So different. And when you're at those schools, they recruit themselves. Everybody wants to go to Florida. Everybody wants to go to Ohio State. Everybody wants to go to Alabama because if I go, I'm probably going to the league.
So then the thinking is, okay, he's this brilliant offensive mind, and you're saying that system is a very
brilliant.
college system.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He didn't have one. There's not a quarterback that goes into they don't do it.
Remember, I mean, it seems like forever ago, but Chip Kelly at Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, that changed the game. We sure thought
Speed.
it was speed. I
Boom,
mean,
boom,
it was
boom,
just
boom.
there's no huddle, and then there's Chip Kelly's no
Yeah.
huddle, and it was the GPS trackers,
Right,
and
right.
all that crazy stuff that I'm sure LaShawn McCoy told you a story or two from his great relationship with Chip Kelly.
Shady officially is out. We gotta try to get him on here.
Is he's done?
I don't know. I said once he is.
Oh,
I think
once he
he's
is.
still
Okay.
hoping somebody gets hurt and maybe
We
give him a
absolutely
shot.
got to get him on. But like, I remember thinking, oh my god, like if Chip Kelly, everything he did at Oregon, he's gonna take that to the NFL, and then we see it. Remember that first game against Washington?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like, holy crap! Like this is stuff we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was gone. I mean, it was like as soon as it came, it was figured out and it was gone. And defensive players were calling out plays. Like they knew exactly where the ball was going before the snap. I don't know. I mean, I'm skeptical for a lot of the same reasons you are, from dealing with your players on the human level to the scheme and the schematics of this all. I will say, I think Jacksonville's got a pretty promising nucleus. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, you saw some of those throws against Dallas. I mean, he's
natural. He's natural talent. Yeah, he is.
Laviska Shenault, DJ Chark, James Robinson. You got something to work with there. Is it enough to really inspire hope for the future this season? You say no.
I'm paying attention to it.
Okay.
Am I hoping? No. I don't know if I necessarily hope no. I'm just a little fascinated with Urban Meyer. It's interesting when you're Florida and Ohio State. This is a little different.
What great college coach has had a great NFL career?
Spurrier was like an 8-and-8er, I think, right? If that.
Remember, he thought he could win with
once again
Danny Werfel and Shane Matthews.
Yeah, he's trying to get. I know.
Yeah, just give me whoever. I'll figure it out.
That's not how it works. So at least Urban did get the first pick. Got a quarterback. So he put himself out there. So let's see what he does.
I guess I'll bring us home, Jim.
Yeah, what's the last one?
Just more so tease with this third story.
I like it.
But the Dallas Cowboys, they're always interesting.
Yep.
For
Hard Knocks.
Billions of reasons, right? I mean, the richest sports franchise in the world. We're watching Hard Knocks. It's like we said, it's not the Hard Knocks it used to be, but you still have Jerry Jones getting off that helicopter, wearing the sunglasses, puffing the chest out, soaking in that spotlight. I still think he has a lot of say behind the scenes. You'll hear otherwise from some people, but his fingerprints are all over this team. And it's good in ways. You know, he cares. I think you want an owner who cares. I don't think you want an owner that is going to make the decisions that he makes when he isn't as vested and putting in the hours as a typical GM would put in. So we'll leave it there. I think Dallas will be an interesting team to watch, but
they have
maybe not for the good reasons.
They have that dynamic. They have your favorite head coach. I mean, They are a team. It's going to be. I know. I'm looking forward to seeing it too. Everybody's anointing Dak as he's going to win comeback player of the year. He's the odds-on favorite to win comeback player of the year. Which, I mean, if he stays healthy, you would think he would,
Yeah.
just with the numbers he puts up with, and that offense is loaded with talent.
Just wonder though, like you want
But
to throw the ball all over the
right.
yard, with the defense like that. To give themselves a shot, they better hand the ball to Zeke. They better.
Somehow mix it in, make that a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't see them winning. Give me New York, even with Andrew Thomas there at tackle. Over,
Rough preseason for Andrew, huh?
let's let that play out. They did take him ahead of Justin Herbert, but
Joe Judge might have him running laps. He's giving up a sack. You better run a lap.
Maybe a couple bull in the rings.
Bull in the ring.
I'm pro Joe Judge. You know that.
Joe Judge, Dan Campbell. Let's go. Let's see who's going to have the better year, Giants or Lions.
All right, that's good. What do you think?
Yeah, we hit when we start talking Joe Judge, man Campbell, I'm good, baby. I'm good.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We're going to continue our divisional look at the league before the season kicks off. And September 1st, be sure to check out golongtv.com. Subscribe if you don't. We would love that. And
join us in Hamburg.
Join us here at Hamburg on a date to be announced very soon. Thanks, everyone.